Welcome to my channel. Thank you guys for tuning in. Now today's video, I didn't really plan to make this video, but I came across something really interesting and I thought it is worthwhile sharing it with everyone watching. So as you can see in front of you is the Steeldive SD1970 6105 homage. Now this watch is this is my personal watch, and if you have been following my channel and you've seen my videos, I reviewed this almost about 5 months ago. This is the same watch and I've still got it to this day. I've just put it on a waffle strap. So the reason why I wanted to make this video, so recently I bought a few Steeldive 6105s just to sell on. Now when I got them, opened them, I just gave them a quick once over, like a quality check. Didn't see anything, but I did open one out today and I noticed some subtle but significant differences. Now bear in mind, these are the same watch, same model. Let's move this. Yet there's a few differences. Good or bad, I'll let you guys decide and give my opinion on it at the end. Right, so I don't want to make this a long video, so let's get straight into it. If you haven't seen the original video, or this is the first one you're watching, quick rundown of the dimensions. Diameter is 44 mil, the lug to lug is 46, the thickness is 13.5. Specifications is running a NH35 movement and it comes with a sapphire glass. Right, let's get to it. So if you're familiar with this model, let's get straight to the differences. So the first thing that you should notice, if I tilt it there, the sapphire glass. This is the first one that I bought. So on the left you can see ever so slight, maybe 0.2 of a mil. However, on this version, it's quite significant, just under a mil, I reckon. So not quite top hat on the sapphire, but the sapphire does come out over the bezel. Over the bezel there, you can see that better. The second thing you'll notice, just on the sapphire, so they did make a few changes. So on the left, there's no bevel edge, but the Steeldive on the right, you can see a beveled edge which goes around the crystal. The third thing on the sapphire is this has a blue AR coating. You can just see, there you go. And this one is sapphire. It's been tested by myself, but it has no coating. Moving on. Now, I don't know if you can tell, it is quite subtle. They've used a different bezel also. So if you pay attention to this bezel, obviously this is a coin edge, but on the edges you can see there, they slope down. And on the newer one, there's no slope. It's square. And there's a slight lip where the bezel insert sits. Still coin edge. The movement between the bezels. So the original, nice and tight, good audible click. Now on the Steeldive, There's a slight difference. The grip is a bit better because you've got the square edge here. Side by side you can see the bezel on the right looks slightly thicker, but because this is a slope, it doesn't appear as thick. So those are the two differences that you'll see straight away. Now the third difference, still focusing on the dial, I don't know if you can tell on video, I'll try to make it clear. If you look at the loom, so the loom on the first Steeldive is slightly tinted, looks a bit more vintage, it's a bit darker, but the loom on the right hand side is a lot brighter. Secondly, now this is a very subtle difference and I've just picked it up now. I don't know if you can tell or if you'll agree, the logo is slightly, the writing is slightly smaller. Yeah, so it looks like this one's written in bold and this one not so much. See that? Steeldive. Everything else is pretty much the same. The day window still has the gold frame around it. Okay, now I think this is the last difference. So a quick look. Yeah, the back of the cases are both brushed. And S35. Yeah, the writing is the same. There's nothing different there. Okay, the third difference we can pick up on the crown. So you've got a signed crown on the right hand side on the newer one, which is the Steeldive logo. And on the original, it's a sterile crown. Now you'll also notice the flushness along the side of this case. On the original, the crown sits just slightly proud of the case, and this one sits quite flush. Now let's open up the crowns and see why. By the way, this is one of the nicest features that I like about this case, and the way the crown sits is your fingers just glide over these crown guards. Very nice design. I love how the crown tucks in. But yeah, let's screw back out. A quick wipe. Right. If you can see the two. So the crown on the left, I'd say looks thicker, but that's just visual. I did measure it with a digital caliper, and they are both 6.14 millimeters thick in diameter. The difference is the actual length of the crown, or width, depending on how you look at it. Well, the length. So the crown on the newer one is actually 4.3, and on the older one it's 4.9. So you've got a 0.6 mil difference, and I believe that's why you've got a better fitting crown. I find this change interesting. It was totally unexpected. Like I said, I bought these models. I'm a big fan of these watches, and a friend of mine actually wanted one as well, so I ordered a few in. I sat down with him, we went through his one, and this is where I noticed the differences. Now, I did mention in the previous video, I was struggling to find anything to improve on, but I did mention the crown being one. It'd be nice to have a signed crown, and we have on this one. So that's an improvement. Regarding the bezel, subjective, but I will say on the newer one, the coin edge just feels a bit better, a bit more robust. so there's a nicer grip on there. But sound wise, I do prefer the sound of the first one. So it's not really an improvement, it is different. A slight improvement I'd say, just due to the grip, but it is subjective. It depends if you prefer a thicker bezel to hold on to. So the change on the sapphire glass, again, it is down to taste, but because the sapphire glass on the new one has more, let's say, features with the beveled edge and then the AR coating, which to most people it is probably preferred. The fact that it sticks out, I don't know how people feel about that. Personally, it does not bother me, but I know there are some people where it might actually bother them. And the dial, the last thing on the dial, so again, is this purely subjective. It does appear brighter on the right hand side, however I prefer the dial on the left. I like this slightly more vintage off color dial. It doesn't affect the loom, but yeah, I thought that was quite interesting. Totally unexpected, but I'm glad they have made what they call improvements. I think it shows that they are probably listening to what people have said. And I think you'll find Heimdallr do the same. Heimdallr do actually take on board what customers have got to say. So they'll make subtle improvements if need be. So let's do a loom comparison. Okay, so the loom, you've got the blue around the bezel, and it's the same on both. The only difference you can see is the hands. The loom on the hands is pretty much the same. Is the loom on the newer one on the right hand side is just a touch duller, which is weird because the dial is brighter, but still it is very visible. The loom is crisp. So subtle differences. So there you have it. Yeah, guys, let me know in the comments what you think about the slight changes, if you prefer them or not. But I will say it's a very, very solid watch. I highly recommend people to get it. If you're in the UK or Europe, I've got 2 left. So drop me an email if you want, and then we can sort something out. And yeah, pleasant surprise. So yeah, as I said, let me know how you feel about the changes on this. As always, subscribe, like the video if you did like it, and drop me a comment. Thank you for watching.